Thank you for joining me for this episode. This is our featured artist spotlight, and this week we have Amy Kirk. Welcome, Amy.
Hello, good morning. I'm glad to be here.
I'm so excited to have you. I've just admired your work and love your inspiring words that you share on Instagram. So I'm so excited to share your story with others. Let me just share a little bit about you, and then we'll dive into what God's been doing through you and your art. Amy Kirk, or Ahni, is that how you say it?
Ahni, yes.
Ahni, as she's called by her nieces and nephews, has been married to her husband, Stephen, for 24 years. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You have 7 children. Wow.
7.
Wow. Ages 8 to 22, is that right?
It is, yes.
Wow. And she's a kindergarten teacher by day and a family life coordinator until bedtime. Oh, I think a lot of people can relate. She shares her art and heart on Instagram using what God is teaching her through his word and her daily life as a wife and mother as her springboard. You can find her on Instagram and Etsy at Ahni Art, which is AHNIART. So welcome, Amy. And just to get started, share with us a little bit about your art journey. Have you always been an artist or had that creativity, or has this been something new for you?
It definitely has been a part of my DNA since I was little. I've always said I was most happy and content with crayons in my hand and ballet slippers on my feet. And that's how I spent my days as a little girl. And art class was my happy place every week.
Oh, awesome.
Could not wait. I had great art teachers in elementary school, and yeah, it filled my cup. I knew that was something that maybe I would do in the future. And so I continued to enjoy art classes. My parents really poured into that part of me, and they helped me start a little card business when I was probably, I think, junior high school. I started to sell these teeny tiny little gift cards, and my dad would take them to work and he would Xerox them.
So fun!
And then I would hand color each one. And then my parents' friends were just a huge support. They would come and they would stop by and say, I need 2 packages of your gift cards. And so that's just such a sweet memory of my growing up years. And my parents let me paint on our basement walls and on our floors in the basement. And so I would do murals, and yes, it's definitely been a part of who I have been since I've been a little girl.
Yeah, and I love the fact that your parents really just encouraged your gift of creativity and art. I have another friend that's like that too, and she didn't have like any like negative experiences with her family. It was just they were always encouraging her, and I just feel like it was the same way for you, and already having your little business, you know.
It's really funny to think back on those days, you know, just that don't despise small beginnings kind of a thing. And very grateful for my parents who just really saw that in me and just encouraged that. And
so you now do sell your art on Etsy. Did you hesitate to like take that passion? I mean, you started selling things when you were little, so I don't know if it just was like a natural thing, or as an adult, did you find yourself hesitating at all to make it a business?
Definitely. I think once I hit high school, I took every art class that I could. I loved my art teacher, and she really encouraged me to go into art.
Wow.
So I went and visited many art schools, and the only way I can describe it, I know God was really working on me, but every time I would walk into an art school, I felt almost suffocated by it. That was the only word that I could describe.
Wow.
And I could not take that step to go further into art. And I told my parents that, and we thought about it, and I ended up going into education. And my parents said, you know what, I think you're going to be able to use your creative gifts in the classroom. And so that's really where I express my creativity. I think I have over the last 20 some years. So my story has kind of, I've got definitely a journey of how God has brought art back into my life. and I see it now with different eyes. So starting an Etsy shop, I did not want to do that. And it seemed very scary. It seemed daunting to me. And it seemed like it had a lot of pieces that I didn't have necessarily the know-how to know how to do it properly. But as I began to share my art on Instagram, I kept receiving these DMs, direct messages. Can I buy this? Do you have an Etsy shop? This really blessed me. I love that art. I love your whimsical style. And so then I began to feel the pressure. Should I do this? Is that something I need to do? And so my husband and I talked and hemmed and hawed about it, just wondering, do I really have time for that with 7 children and church and home life? And then I was teaching part-time kindergarten. And we talked and talked, and we finally decided to open it. And I just went for it. And I put some things out there, and I got a few sales. Funny enough, it was people who knew me and loved me. And then it just kind of fizzled. And I thought, now what? I just didn't know the ins and outs of having an Etsy shop. So I kind of started it not having the tools in place. And that's kind of interesting. Then about 3 years later, you came along, Shelley, and it's just it's put the tools in my tool belt that I need to really, I think, succeed now in having an Etsy shop. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that, you're part of our Etsy Entrepreneur, Etsy Shop Makeover courses. And I just love seeing your work. And you've really done a lot with stickers, right?
I have.
So share a little bit about that.
It's been funny how that's morphed. I think a year ago, my husband bought me an iPad and an Apple Pencil for my birthday.
Awesome.
And I think secretly part of it was, Amy, we need to streamline your art, because I had watercolor paper all over the house. And, I had piles, and, I tell my kids, don't touch this. Mom's working on this. And I had my little table, but, piles tend to, it was kind of like I had these creative explosions all over the house. So secretly, I think my husband was trying to streamline me a little bit. And so I popped into the Procreate app and fell in love, and just began to find as many YouTube videos as I could online and to learn more about it. And so digitally, my art has just really, it's streamlined digitally, I should say. And then I thought, now what? Is maybe I can use these digital pictures probably in an easier way as far as getting my art out there. And once again, your courses were super helpful in helping me make a plan, having action steps, and then taking one by one to now having all these tiny little vinyl stickers that I just hope and pray bring happiness and joy to people. So so that's been another journey as well. Once that I taken your classes, and they've just given me very clear steps to then take my art and outsource it to use it on other products. And so now I do. I went ahead and I gathered up 10 images, and I took your advice on making a collection.
Oh, good.
And then I began to post that the collection was going to go live on a certain date. And that just happened this past weekend, and it was such fun. Just
awesome.
Fun. Having these stickers and then having them sell and packaging them up, and it was my largest probably sale that I've ever had on Etsy. So it was exciting. So I love sharing my art and getting it out there and hoping it brings joy. So
and I have goosebumps, because it's just like that makes everything I do so worthwhile. It's just the little things that you learn, or the steps, and doing the collection and then launching it and seeing the success. And you have such a fun, it's kind of like a whimsical, right? Is that what you kind of call it?
I do.
Yeah, it's such a fun stuff. If you guys aren't following Amy, go follow her. And just so encouraging, like all of the captions are just so thoughtful and encouraging. You have a gift of writing as well. But so it's just been so fun to see. What do you think is next for you?
I think that's kind of the $1,000,000 question right now, because, but I don't want to, I really don't want to put God in a box. And I
Right.
think I've done that a lot with my art. And being an introvert, I'm very happy staying hidden. And I think God's been teaching me a lot about, hey, I'm an invisible God, but I've given you these gifts to make me visible to this dark world. And so I need you to start sharing it and being brave and bold. And I think these stickers are just kind of a tiny way of saying, Amy, this is the way. Let's take these next steps. Just keep walking faithfully with me. Stay behind me. And so I'm not real sure what the next step is going to be, but I feel more organized in my methods. And so I'm not just drawing and putting it out there and hoping that, I don't know, someone finds it and is blessed by it, or wants to order it, but it's okay to step back and be creative and to be still and to listen and just kind of move into it as you're inspired, and all of a sudden you start to see a thread. At least I've begun to see a thread in my art as I've taken a step back and been okay with not just kind of barreling forward, but being just real mindful of that. So I don't know, I'm finding my art emerging a little bit and really finding my voice and who this Ahni art is. And I want to dream big dreams. So I'm just I'm holding it really lightly right now and just saying, okay, God, I'm ready. And I just, Shelley, your classes have just been that beautiful step in kind of organizing my creative mess that I have going on up here. And so I don't know. I don't really know what that answer is, but I think I'm willing and available and open to see God.
That's the best place to be, because it's like my one friend says, God can't direct a parked car, but when you're taking steps, when you're open and available, then he can lead and guide and direct you exactly where he wants you to go at the pace of his grace, at the pace that he has for you. It doesn't have to be full speed ahead. It doesn't have, it's at the pace he has for you. And you are in a season where you still have a lot of responsibilities, and like your husband's a pastor, right?
He is.
So you have the church, and you're in ministry there, but your kids, your work, there's a lot going on. And so what you're doing is good. And it's so exciting to see you progressing forward in the midst of even a really busy time.
And that's a real, that's a dance for me. And I think I get some direct messages a lot, how do you do it? This seems crazy. And it really is God's grace right now, because my life is full. And definitely, my kids are only going to be this age for so much longer. And I've got 2 in college and they're ready to move on. And so they're my husband, our church, our family, they are our priority. But God has just grace gifted me this season of getting up early in the morning and opening his word and spending time in prayer. And I pray a lot of I draw a lot of my prayers, I guess I should say.
Oh, yes.
That's been a journey of, prayer has been really difficult for me. I had a really hard time connecting with a God that I couldn't see. And I always felt like my mind was going a million miles a minute and I just couldn't settle myself. And God has used my art. When my hands are busy, my heart is still. And so I spend those times in the morning just drawing and spending that time with him. It's hard to squeeze it in during the day. So
yes,
I don't want to look like I have it all together, and my life is full. It really is. So it's been kind of a spiritual journey for me as well. But when my kids were also little and they were up during the night, my art was definitely put on the shelf for a long time. So this is a new season for me. But I don't want anybody to think, oh, she's got it all together and I need to be like that. And I think we all have our different journeys and stories.
We do, but I love how you've integrated it into something else that you're already wanting to do, your spiritual life and your time with God and prayer, and that it's not only been a way for you to express your creativity on a consistent basis, but a way to really draw closer to God.
It has been, and it's just a beautiful thing, and I'm so grateful for it. And I think that's, for all of us creatives, and I think everybody has a creative side to them, and remembering, what are those things that bring you to life and excite you? And sometimes I think we get so bogged down with the heaviness of life that we forget the things that bring us joy and the things that bubble up inside of us. And just important to take the time to remember, those things that God planted in our souls. I think even when he was knitting us together, to remember, wow, okay, I can actually experience God's presence and his delight and his love over me when I'm cooking or when I'm baking or when I'm taking pictures or building a play gym for my children, or he's so creative that way.
Yes. And I have a friend that, like, during church, she'll actually sketch. So, some people do the creative, sketch notes, or they're doing lettering, but she'll actually sketch. And she said it helps her to focus more and she retains more when she's doing that. But she's actually had people that glare at her like she's not paying attention. And she's like, I just had to let that go. Like, as creatives, sometimes people won't always understand us or understand how we're connecting with God, and that's okay.
Exactly. It's so true. I think more and more, this Bible journaling and these sermon notes and these illustrations, I think it's becoming a thing, out there. People are becoming educated on that. And several years ago, my husband had a pastor on his team, his lead team, and he would come home and he'd say, he just sits there and I feel like he's not paying any attention, and he's drawing these pictures. And I said, hold up. I said, I think you need to ask him what he's doing. And he did. And he said, that's how he concentrated, was keeping his mind focused while his hands were busy drawing the picture or whatever. And just, it's good. I mean, it's just really good that I think we acknowledge how we're all so uniquely put together.
It's so true. Now, if someone that's listening, maybe they're on their journey and they're thinking about possibly selling their art, and it's always so scary, and putting yourself out there, opening an Etsy shop, there's so many details that can get very daunting, like what you said earlier, or overwhelming. Like, do you have a piece of advice for them?
I do. Probably, and this probably isn't a new thought, but maybe there's a couple that I'm thinking of. The first one is be brave enough to take that next step to putting your art out there. And like I said before, fear wants to keep us hidden, whether it's perfectionism or not feeling good enough or judged, but like I said, your courses just gave me that extra nudge to take that bold step. Even though I had the Etsy shop, now to kind of step back and to reorganize and with those steps. But what is that brave step that you can do to get your art out there, to be generous with the beautiful gift that God has given you? Just really reflect on that, and just maybe even take notes and see if there's a common thread. But we need to be generous with the gifts that God has given us, and to share that beautiful gift with the world. So, being brave, that's kind of the word that I've been thinking on over this last year, to take that step. And there's so many resources out there to help you take that. We're really not that lone soldier out there anymore. There's so much, your courses have just been that light for me. And I know for others, they're worth every single penny. You probably don't realize this, but I listen to you almost every day when I'm on the treadmill. I watch your courses over and over again, just so I can begin to change my thinking and my mindset, so that I can keep taking that next brave step forward. So, yeah, I mean, it's just,
Wow.
it's amazing. So
I
yeah.
love hearing that. That's so fun.
Yeah, it's true. It's so true.
Yeah, it's like we're hanging out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for being here. Where's the best place for people to connect with you or find you if they want to connect with you further or see all your beautiful art and your fun stickers?
Thank you. Instagram has just been a beautiful community of just encouraging people and artists. And I think we all, we just want to make beautiful things and share those things and just to be encouraged by one another. So I definitely, Instagram, Ahni Art, AHNIART. You can find me there. I think I'm most active on Instagram. I also, Ahni Art as well on Facebook. I'm just starting to grow a little community on there. And I also, of course, my Etsy shop is where you can find a lot of my stickers, and I'm hoping to be launching a few more before school starts. So I just love to share that way.
That's awesome. Well, this is kind of, a season where you don't have that other aspect of your work. I mean, you're still working all day with your kids, but to prepare for maybe a fall launch or, something that you do, a fall collection or, and even as the holidays come, there will be a lot of people that will want things, for the holidays. So that's even something to start thinking about now. And it's crazy when you're like, oh, I'm creating something for Christmas in July.
It's so true. And I think that's probably my next step, is just retraining my brain to think, oh, okay, we need to start thinking ahead. I'm very in the moment, and that could be just my season of life right now because, what's on the calendar square for today. And so thinking ahead is like, woo, but I think that's probably a good encouragement for me, is that next step of thinking ahead of, 6 months down the line. And
and while you have time too. But thank you so much for being here. It's such an encouragement to hear your story and all that you're doing, and just can't wait to see all that God continues to do and how I know he's encouraging many people through your art every day. So thank you so much. And
thank you. And you as well, Shelley. I know God's using you in powerful ways, and I'm very appreciative for your ministry and your just the way you're a there you are kind of person, and you reach out and draw people in, and I'm just so grateful. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. You're so welcome. And thank you all for listening and being here. Now, what is your next step, right?
That's right. Make it a brave one.
Be brave, like Amy said, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye. Hey, YouTube friends. We're so glad that you're here. Make sure that you click the red subscribe button and then click the bell next to it to make sure that you're subscribed and that you'll get notifications when we post new videos for you. Before you leave, I wanted to share with you a free gift. I have a free training called How You Can Earn a Full-Time Income as an Artist, a $97 value for free, and you can sign up for that free gift at yourcreativeadventure.com/artist income. And if you've wanted to turn your passion for art into income, then this training is for you. So you're going to learn 10 real-life examples of what's working today to earn money as an artist. They're real-life case studies. I'm going to share with you how diversifying your income can help you grow your art business much faster. You may struggle if you're relying on one income stream only. You'll learn how to sell your artwork online, the specific partnerships you should consider as an artist, and 2 passive income streams that can be very profitable. And the cool thing is that artists that have taken this free training are getting results. For example, Valerie Lynn said 10 days after watching the webinar, she had already sold $400 worth of art. And Shannon Santa Maria said that after watching the webinar, she took the risk and took her work to a boutique and sold over half of her items What do you have to lose? There are so many opportunities for us as artists today. Sign up for free at yourcreativeadventure.com/artist income, and then let me know your takeaways and your results. Tag me at Your Creative Adventure. I can't wait to help you make money as an artist doing what you love. This is Shelly Hitz. Thank you so much for joining me in this free training.